Fam, what's up? In this video, I want to share with you how I survived my spiritual awakening and what you can do to survive yours if that happens to be a thing for you in your life right now. So, first of all, how do you know you're going through a spiritual awakening? Well, nothing seems to make sense, right? You've been raised probably in a particular religion or you have these certain spiritual ideas, and you just begin to question everything, right? The way I described it for myself was that I had begun to see something that I couldn't unsee. There was something that was stretched in my understanding that didn't allow me to go back to believing, thinking, or even seeing life the same way. And so, you know, if you're going through a spiritual awakening, if you have these questions, right? Because something has clicked, something has sparked. There's a new understanding there that's beyond just simple teenage rebellion, right? Again, been there too. So this sort of questioning is a bit more grounded, right? You also know because you begin to have different experiences. Your dreams may change, right? And let me say this as well. The the side effects, right? The symptoms of spiritual awakening may not be the same for everybody. Ultimately, though, what it leads to is simply an expansion of your consciousness, an expansion of your awareness of your understanding of the world. You begin to see through this duality that seems to be so prevalent, and you can get hints of the unity and the oneness that life really is. Maybe not all at once, but you begin to slowly but surely put things together, right? You begin to see your entire life and your entire existence in a new and different light, right? Some people, you might go the way of astrology, tarot, learning of stones and the spiritual properties of these minerals and these earth elements. You may go the path of a particular spiritual text, whether it be, A Course in Miracles, the Way of Mastery, the Bible, the Quran, right? Those are legitimate ways to, again, expanding this consciousness that we all are. So how do you survive it? Well, what I would say to you, as your big brother, right? As somebody who's been down this path just a little bit before you, the very first thing I would say is recognize that in your learning, you do not know it all. Okay? The essence of this beingness that we are is love. And so in every situation, with the best comprehension, the best understanding that you possess, ask yourself, what would love do? Because that will keep you out of a lot of arguments. It may help save those relationships that can be saved, because how many of us know that we're associated with some people, especially some of our family members, right? Especially if we're in a super religious environment. There are some people that no matter what we say, no matter how we show up, they just will not accept us. But one thing you have to realize as you begin to stir in this is that as long as you accept you, that's all you need. And as you do that, your people, your soul fam will begin to show up. And you'll look around and you'll say, oh crap, I'm literally supported on every single side of myself. And it's a beautiful thing. The next thing I would say, and I'm only going to give you 3 here, right? This is going to be a super short video. The next thing I would say is don't try to understand everything. So you don't know everything. And also don't try to understand everything. In 2020, right? This is when things like really kicked into high gear for me. I would say it actually started back in 2015 for me. But that was just sort of like the preview of what was to come. But a friend had told me back in 2020, she said, the less you try to understand, the more things will make sense. And I didn't understand it then, right? But that's the paradoxical nature of life. When we're dealing in this spiritual realm, right? Through this physicality, in this 3D world, interacting with the 4 and 5D, however you want to stratify planes of existence, you begin to recognize that, hey, there's a lot happening and you're not going to comprehend it all. So one of the best things you can do is just to take your hands off, right? Just as you begin to see more, as you begin to understand more little by little, take what you get. Be at peace with that, and learn that this whole process, like there is no end. Okay, like there's no place you get to when you say, okay, I am now fully awakened and realized, unless you're like a legitimate Christ or Buddha, and you are, and there's a reason we go through these life cycles. I mean, like and through lifetimes. Okay, I mean, yes, Christ and Buddha, they weren't special, and we recognize them as the masters that they are for a reason. I'll be the first to admit I don't have it all together. I don't know everything. I don't pretend to. I'm just somebody who loves spirit, and I want to share my gleanings and my experience with my brothers and sisters. Because there's a lot of us out here who have yet to begin to, like, we were born, right? Our lives started years ago, decades ago. But not many of us have begun to live because we don't know who we are yet. We haven't come to the realization that, oh snap, there is a life outside of everything I've learned up to this point. Like there is a self that I am apart from all the identity that I've been given, all the identity that I've been told that I am, all the ways of living that I've been told I have to live. There's a completely different way of existing outside of that. And our lives don't start until we cross that threshold of simply asking like one of the first questions. What am I doing here? Or even beyond that, who am I? And not taking an answer from somebody else. I mean, like really sitting with the question and allowing your soul to speak to you. And that may have to be something you learn how to do, because you may have spent decades following the voices of everybody else in your life. And again, it's a process. Little by little, you begin to recognize, little by little, you begin to uncover the golden spark of divinity that you are. The last thing I'll say is spend much time in silence and meditation. Not for any of the magical powers that come with it, not because of any of the synchronicities that will begin to occur in your life, not because of the spiritual insight that you will gain from it. All of those benefits are great. But you spend time in silence and meditation for the connection that it builds with your source, with the source, right? The ground of all being, the fountain of existence. Because once you learn to simply be in silence and be with yourself as you are, with no desire to have anything be different, I really can't say exactly what changes in you. I know for myself, I need a lot less, and I'm aware of a lot more. It's as if in that space, more space inside of me gets created. Right? It's like the more time I spend in the space of silence, the more silence gets created in me. And so in those moments, when my temper does rise, when my patience gets low, there's a space between the event and my response. A space that wasn't there prior to me sort of getting on this path and beginning to recognize that, okay, there's a tension and there's a force inside of me that wants to express itself, but I realize it's not for the highest benefit of all. And it's not me restraining myself per se. It's me restraining an aspect of my being that's just not beneficial to this moment. Again, what would love do? There's an old story of two wolves that live inside of each of us. You have the wolf of ego and the wolf of spirit, And they say that every day we're feeding these wolves, but we're usually feeding one wolf more than the other. And the wolf that we feed the most grows bigger and eventually overtakes the other. So which wolf are you going to feed in your life? Let's elevate.